Brighton are spending €20 million on a left-back most fans have never heard of, but this transfer actually makes perfect sense. Hello and welcome back to INMR, where today I'll be explaining why Brighton have signed Maxim De Cuyper and what he'll bring to their defence this season. The Club Brugge defender was announced as an Albion player last week. The fullback joins the Seagulls in a deal worth £17.2 million plus add-ons, according to Tutto Mercato. AC Milan, Roma and Atalanta have all been tracking Maxim De Cuyper for months, but the Belgian decided to accept a proposal from Brighton instead. He'll add lots of creativity to Fabian Hürzeler's side. In fact, he created 90 chances last season, which is more than Matoma, João Pedro and Carlos Baleba combined. Also, just to show you how good this guy is, the 90 chances he created is more than Pascal Gross managed in a single campaign in 6 out of his 7 seasons at Brighton. So, now that I've got your attention, let me answer the most basic question for you. Who is Maxim De Cuyper? First of all, he's a 24-year-old who typically plays as a wing-back but can do a job as a full-back. He isn't the best defensively but is a real gem going forward, suggesting a potential switch in formation next season for Fabian Hürzeler, but we'll talk about that in just a moment. Cuyper started his career in Club Brugge's youth academy before making his senior debut in 2020. Since then, he's gone on to make 114 senior appearances for the club and contributed 26 goal involvements. His breakout season came in 2023-24 and he was rewarded for his performances with a call-up to the Belgian national team. He's got 10 caps for the Red Devils across World Cup qualifiers and Nation League matches. Now that you know a bit about De Cuyper's background, here's how he fits into Fabian Hürzeler's plans. His style of play alone fits Brighton on a technical level due to his composure on the ball, which fits Hürzeler's possession-heavy style. He's left-footed, he can invert or overlap depending on the system. He's at a similar level defensively to Estupiñán. Estupiñán might be a little bit better, but going forward, De Cuyper is far superior. He's a bit less chaotic, more calculated. A lot of times last season, Estupiñán would be taking really silly shots from long range, whereas De Cuyper is a bit more relaxed on the ball. He won't just shoot for the sake of it. He knows what he's doing, he can link up with players well, and if the shot is on, it's going to be far more accurate than what Estupiñán's were. He can also play left centre-back in a back three if needed. It wouldn't be ideal, but he has filled in there before, and could do it for the Albion if absolutely necessary. And as you can see on screen now, when you compare various metrics to Estupiñán, De Cuyper is a far more exciting creative outlet, which is what we've lacked since the departure of Pascal Gross. I did an article a little while ago looking at who could replace Pascal Gross, and I used all these various metrics to find a midfielder that could match Gross's creativity alongside various other things. The one thing I didn't look at is players who could offer that kind of creativity but weren't midfielders, and De Cuyper actually exceeds a lot of the areas Gross was doing well in, and a lot of the players I suggested aren't nearly as good as what De Cuyper can provide from left wing back. This next segment is very interesting because many of Brighton's signings this summer suggest a structural switch up on the field. So far, the Seagulls have signed 2 new strikers, a couple of young wingers and 2 central defenders. The latter is what's important because at first it was seemingly normal. 2 defenders were brought in to help build depth where it lacked last season. It might be one too many, especially given the signing of Ian Cashin in the previous window, but better to be safe than sorry. However, the signing of De Cuyper has thrown a spanner in the works. From what I've seen, he's tremendously creative, will be an excellent addition in terms of his attacking contributions, but he isn't a defender. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean a change of shape. After all, Pervis Estupiñán is better going forward than he is defensively, but for De Cuyper, the gap between his attacking ability and defensive ability is far bigger. He also has always been successful in a system that's used him as a wing-back, so why would you buy a player that doesn't fit your system? Therefore, there is bound to be changes as Brighton enter their second campaign under Fabian Hürzeler. Players are settled, Hürzeler and his staff have got their philosophies across, so now is when we'll really see what Hürzeler has always wanted to do with this Brighton team. At St Pauli in the Bundesliga 2, Hürzeler achieved promotion using a 3-4-3 formation. That's how it's set up as the foundation, but there was significant tactical flexibility, and in possession it would almost look like a 2-4-1-3. The central defender in the back three was crucial, often stepping into midfield to create that shape, which would likely be either Boscagli or Van Heck in the Brighton setup. Wingbacks are a huge part in supporting attacks and create overloads in the box. De Cuyper did this perfectly at Club Brugge and managed to contribute 9 goals over the last 2 seasons. So in a 3-4-3, I think Brighton would suit this pretty well. You'd have Boscagli or Van Heck stepping into midfield. You'd have the 2 wingbacks joining in and becoming more like wingers. So in a 3-4-3, I actually think Brighton would suit this perfectly. The back 3 is looking far more solid. Obviously at left wing back you'd have De Cuyper, and on the right wing back is where things get interesting for me. I think Yankuba Minteh, what got a lot better in his game last season was how much more solid he was defensively. He tracked back a lot more, supported his fullback, and actually, yes, we knew what he could do going forward and he is a very exciting winger, but what was really good to see was how much he did get back and support the defence when Brighton needed it. Alternatively, it could spell the resurgence of Tariq Lamptey. Brighton did just extend his contract for 1 further year. In a wing-back role, he would be far more successful. Take a look at when Tariq Lamptey was in his prime during lockdown. That was in a Graham Potter setup where wing-backs were prominent. There's also the option of using Kadioglu on the right-hand side. We've even seen him play really well on the right wing for Brighton, so there's no reason why he couldn't suit a right wing-back role, and even Joel Veltman. And worst comes to worst, you look at players such as Mats Wiefer and Jack Hinchelwood, who showed their flexibility in the right back role last season, and a more advanced wing back role could suit them even more, especially for Hinchelwood, who likes to get forward and can provide that threat in attack. He could suit this right wing back role when needed. So, whilst the headlines might overlook De Cuyper, Brighton clearly see something bigger, and we could for the first time see what Hürzeler has been planning for the Seagulls all along. So what do you think? Will De Cuyper be a success at Brighton, and will it spell massive tactical change at the club? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. That is where I'm going to end today's podcast, but there are plenty of others that you can go and listen to. For more content, be sure to check out my website, that's inmrfootball.co.uk. On there you can find match reports, live blogs, club updates and so much more. And if that's not enough, INMR is also on X and Instagram, so you can follow me on both of those platforms for even more daily football content. Thank you very much for listening, and I will see you in the next one.